Good morning. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Caitlin, and I was just on here and realized I don't think I posted the episode I recorded last week, so whoops. I'll get that up today too, I guess. I have only done one episode a week the past few weeks. I don't know. I'll do a little bit of a recap. I know that I said in the last episode, I went on a weekend trip with my friend, and then I went to a concert, a week after that, and that was really fun. But it's I did two things, and now my body's like, haha, screw you, we're exhausted, why did you do that to me? So basically, I have been very tired for 2 weeks. So I'm trying to let myself recover by letting myself sleep a little bit more and just relax and not rush, and my brain just doesn't want to learn new things, so I've kind of just I did one lesson this week, and that's what I'm talking about today because that's all I have to talk about. But yeah, basically, not been great. I also accidentally, banged my head at work the other day, and so I'm sure that didn't help. But yeah, I've just been really tired. So I'm trying to manage that, and still get my responsibilities done. So that's basically where I am at this week, but it's okay. Hopefully I will recover some this week. I don't know. I'm supposed to be hopefully buying a new car tomorrow, so that's fun. My car doesn't have working AC, and it's gonna be getting warm eventually next month, so I would like to have a car before that. I do not want to be caught at work and it's really hot out and gross. I'm sweating all the way home because it takes me a while to get home. I'm stuck in an hour of stop and go traffic, and there's no breeze. I'm just sitting there baking in my car. So not ideal at all. Did that a few days last year, and that was not good. But I made it to cooler weather and was able to keep this car running for a little while, and so now we're back at it again and need to get a new one. But yeah, so that's been somewhat stressful, just looking for a car and looking for a car in my budget, and because I would really rather just pay for it outright. I have enough savings that I can get a car, and just want to make sure that I'm getting a car that's going to be reliable for hopefully another few years, so that I don't have to do this again until maybe after we have enough money saved for a house. That would be great if I could keep this next car until after we have a house. So yeah, basically just that's how my life has been going, and we've got basically that planned for the weekend, and other than that, I plan on relaxing, maybe building some Legos, because we still have Baradur to build. We've got the whole big Eye of Sauron set. I'm super excited. We've only gotten through the first 3 bags of pieces, so we've got a lot to go, and we also need to start binge watching Naruto because we're going to a symphonic concert at the end of May, and I've never seen it. So I kind of want to know what is going on when I'm there, but I might try doing that whenever I have free time. as well, just because he's already seen it and I need to catch up. So yeah, we might be doing that too. But I don't want to do anything or have anything like that I absolutely have to do this weekend other than the car, because I'm tired and I don't want to have that. I don't want to be stressed. I just want to relax. So we'll see. This week, the lesson is on conflict resolution, which I will say I have a lot of experience with. My mom had a lot of anger issues when I was little. She went to therapy and for a while, and it definitely helped. She definitely worked on herself. But she also, like, my sister kind of got her personality more so. Like, she's more reactive, I would say. And has a hard time, like, holding her tongue. And, so not only was I kind of a buffer between the two of them, because I did feel somewhat protective over my sister. And also it's like, oh, I've been around and dealt with mom for, almost 6 years that you weren't around for. So, like, I have some tricks and things that you can do to, like, not get in trouble as much. Maybe just, like, don't talk back all the time and you'd be okay. But then, it was like me where I hardly ever said anything because I didn't want to get in trouble. So, pros and cons. But I did feel that, like, I would often try to, like, smooth things over. I tended to do that in friend groups too. Again, friend groups aren't something that I had a lot of. I kind of fell into them because I was friends with one person and then they had friends. And so they kind of became my friends, but not really. Like, we weren't close. But it was like, I tried to smooth everything over when things happened, or, like, tried to basically be a mediator, which we'll talk a little bit more about. But I don't know. I dealt with stuff at work. I dealt with stuff in the youth band when I was going to church and playing, and I just kind of fell into that wherever I went because I was quiet and calm and not reactive, and so I could kind of handle other people's emotions better because I wasn't myself having those, like, strong emotions outwardly, at least. And so it was kind of, I don't know, it worked. Maybe it wasn't the best thing for me all the time, but I feel like it was something that it is something that I think I'm relatively good at, because I think quite logically and I can kind of help people see, like, the logic behind things without the heated emotions. So sometimes it doesn't help, but a lot of times it does. So, but in this lesson we talk about identifying the root of the conflict, which is something I was usually pretty good at because I'm typically listening objectively to people tell what's happening or what's going on, and it's important to understand what the root cause is, because it can be several things. Could be miscommunication, differing goals, personality clashes, or resource allocation issues, which fall mostly into, like, I mean, it happens in friend groups too. We've got one friend who doesn't make a lot of money, and they, are constantly feeling like I can't go out all the time because I don't have money, and, if I do go out, then, like, somebody's got to pay for me, and then I feel bad. Or it's like, you got that one friend who, like, doesn't care at all and will always make somebody else pay for them. Or more commonly, I see this in, like, workplaces, or in, like, in the church group, where it was like, this person is not being trained, they're not given the tools that they need to do their role successfully, and it's causing issues with other people who are expecting them to be at this standard when they didn't have the tools to begin with, and they're not able to execute properly. Miscommunication could be anything, so it's really important to just listen, and kind of decipher what the different parties are saying happened or is happening. And then personality clashes is just like, sometimes you have two people that really don't work well together, and maybe it's better to try and find ways for them to not be together as often if it's something that it's just, there's really no other way to avoid the conflict. And then also just really instilling the need for mutual respect, even if you don't like the person, or if you maybe think that they don't handle things the right way because they have a different personality to you, and they don't talk the way that you do or think the way that you do. That, we still need to respect each other. But that all depends on what situation it is. Is everybody being professional? Obviously there's times when, you have to adjust basically what your personality dictates. You kind of have to adjust yourself to the situation sometimes. So sometimes it is like, okay, I get that that's your personality, but in order to fulfill this role, we're going to have to maybe tone that down a bit, or you're going to have to learn to do these things unless you don't want to do this role because it's not a good fit for you. Then, try to find a different solution. Clear, respectful communication and active listening, empathy can help understanding others' perspectives and expressing your own perspective. So yeah, it's important that when we're having these discussions, trying to resolve things, that we try to really not necessarily put our emotions aside. You don't have to not have emotions, but to look at things objectively and think of the other person as a person with their own unique perspective and life experience, and what they have to say is valuable, even if you disagree with it, because then you can bring up what your perspective is, and then you would want them to be respectful of you. So just kind of, it's hard to do when emotions are running high, but that's why it's good to have a mediator. Negotiation involves finding common ground and reaching mutually beneficial arrangements. So a lot of what I was talking about basically has been negotiation. Like, how can we find a solution that works for everyone? However, that's not always possible, and compromise may be necessary to achieve resolution that satisfies all parties involved. It's not always possible that there's a perfect solution for everybody, but it is important that the solution is satisfactory to the parties involved. So, obviously, it's not always going to be that way, but for the most part, we can come to a mutual agreement on what is the best solution for the situation. We just have to be able to communicate that. And that takes time and patience and emotional maturity, which a lot of people don't have, I've realized. So hopefully we can educate and help more people become that way if they want to. Mediators act as a neutral third party to help conflicting parties communicate effectively. The facilitators guide the discussion and decision-making process to reach consensus. So I would say I have been mostly a mediator, sometimes a facilitator, where it just depends on whether or not my third-party involvement has any sort of direction in the group, whether I'm directing the conversation or just present for the conversation and trying to keep people calm while they discuss amongst themselves. I do tend to kind of become a facilitator where I do tend to try to ask questions that make people think about maybe a different perspective than the one they currently have, and it can help to better understand what is really happening in the situation. I think part of being neurodivergent has helped a lot in me being able to see multiple perspectives at one time, but or being able to see different perspectives and different outcomes, because my brain kind of just automatically does that, where it like branches off and I can see all of these different possibilities. And I think that can definitely help with conflict resolution, because I can kind of see, okay, if these different decisions are made, what's going to happen? How's that going to work out for everybody, And I can kind of help guide the conversation to consider those, because a lot of times you have the one person has one thing that they want to happen and the other person has another thing that they want to happen. They're not the same thing, and they only see one path. And so it can be really helpful to kind of open it up and be like, actually, there's more than that. There are more options than that. And maybe one of those would be better for everybody. Might even be something that you hadn't thought of that would be better than the one that you were thinking for yourself. So, encourage teamwork and cooperation to find creative solutions and build stronger relationships. I think you tend to have less conflict when you're working towards a common goal. It's usually when you have different goals that it can really start to fall apart. So if you make sure that you're really aligned in your goals, which can be difficult if you don't have them clearly laid out, but working together, you tend to have stronger relationships with the people in your group, and you can kind of understand people's actions more when it's like, oh, I know that they were doing this because they wanted to see this result that I also want to see, and maybe they didn't do it the way that I would have, but I can see the intention behind it, and it causes less severe conflict, I would say. Working together towards a common goal, Yeah, that's what I was talking about, basically. Remaining calm, respectful, and objective to demonstrate professionalism and promote constructive dialogue. Avoiding personal attacks and you language to prevent escalation. So basically, it's important when we're having these discussions to avoid saying, well, you need to do whatever, or like, you need to just be calmer, you need to just change your perspective on this. It's very important to avoid that. It comes across as very accusatory. People are not going to be receptive to that type of language. So trying to construct your sentences in a way where, either you use we language, or try to kind of bring things back onto yourself. Like, I think that, this is a more effective way of doing this, instead of saying you need to do it my way. So it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, we can talk about all the different ways that this can happen, but until you're really in it and feeling the conflict, it can be really hard to either remember to do all of these things, or to not fall into some of the pitfalls and things that you just naturally want to do when you're emotional and upset. So it's definitely a good topic, and I'll probably talk more on it later. But that's really all I have for today. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get both of these episodes out. I can't believe I totally forgot last week's episode. I apologize to anybody who follows along as I'm going here. But I'm going to try to be better about actually posting them after I record them. But I hope you guys are having a good week. I hope you guys are less tired than I am. And yeah, I hope you guys, I don't know where everybody is listening from, but I know it is getting less nasty where I live. It's not warm yet, but it's getting there. It's spring, you can tell. So I hope everybody is enjoying that, enjoying more sunlight, and that maybe your seasonal depression is getting a little bit better. If you are one of the few or many that have seasonal changes in mood, I hope that you're improving and it's more sunny for you. And yeah, I think that's all that I have. I'm gonna get going, and always remember that you are enough.